Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. I'm your host, Jon Jeune, and of course, without a doubt, on this Wednesday, September 27th, got to have my guy, Greg Pennamon, here with me. Greg, how we feeling today, brother?
Feeling good. Feeling well on this day. Thursday night coming soon. We got a good game actually. You got Green Bay, Detroit, two exciting teams, two quarterbacks that have been playing well this year. So I'm pretty excited for this Thursday night matchup actually.
Yeah, most definitely excited for Thursday night football. Excited for this Thursday night matchup.
Hopefully, we get this Christian Watson sighting. That's all I'm asking, please.
I think we get it. I think we're gonna get it. Obviously, we're gonna break down some Thursday night football between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it, man. A 2-1 Detroit Lions traveling to Green Bay, take on a 2-1 Green Bay Packers in a divisional matchup where the total here is 45.5. Detroit Lions are 1.5 point favorites here. I personally like the under here. I like Detroit to cover the 1.5. I like Detroit to win the game. Greg, where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Detroit to cover though, and Detroit to win. Detroit's have a little streak against Green Bay, beating them the last couple of times. So I'm gonna keep it going here.
Like that one, man. Seems like Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, both seem like they are in line to play this week.
Huge. That's huge.
Definitely huge. Are you? How are you?
Now thinking about that, I think I'm gonna have to go with Green Bay winning the game actually. At home too. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna make a live shift real quick. A live shift.
Okay. So that being said, Greg, like from a fantasy perspective, I mean, I think Aaron Jones plays running back. AJ Dillon's been so bad. Like you are gonna put Aaron Jones in that lineup for sure. But Christian Watson, how do you view him in his first game back potentially with that hamstring injury?
Yeah. I mean, I think I have him in a couple leagues actually. I've been going back and forth about whether to put him in the lineup or not. I think if he's good to go and ready to go, I think he can perform though. So I think he's in that starting area. I think you drafted him as such as well. Coming in, you probably are hurting a little receiver maybe with him being out the first 3 weeks. So I think he's a good flex to start, a strong flex.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him as I kind of agree with you there. I'm gonna have him as a wide receiver 3, which puts him in the flex category there for me. How do you think this impacts the other wide receivers and Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed though?
Yeah, so Romeo Doubs has definitely been playing well, especially in PPR leagues as well. He's been the top 25 guy, so I think he's probably the safest. I think Jordan Love has some chemistry with him. I think he still will fall into that strong wide receiver 3 category, some wide receiver 2 upside. I think it would come down to those two. And Luke Musgrave, I think, will still be an option for where he is right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have Doubs as probably a wide receiver 3. Just because his red zone presence has been so good there.
Yeah.
And
DJ Reed, it might impact him. Jaden Reed, yeah.
Jaden Reed, I think it does impact him a little bit. I think he does have a role here as a slot receiver for this offense and kind of the gadget guy, all around guy that they like to put the ball in his hands. But we've also seen them use Christian Watson in that way as well in the past, and so I do think he does move down the ladder here in terms of target distribution. But I do agree, Luke Musgrave, fantastic matchup here. I think he's definitely in start consideration. Maybe you might talk about him a little bit later. Maybe I'll talk about him in the next segment. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to stick around and find out. But tight end, you're definitely starting the rookie Sam Laporta. My breakout tight end on the year. He's been a top 8 PPR tight end in every game he started through his rookie season. He's on pace to break numerous tight end records. he's a tight end one, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously going to be out there as a wide receiver one. Are you forgiving Josh Reynolds this week, and is he going to be out there for you against Green Bay?
I think we have to probably consider him more of a boomer bust flex right now. I think with the first couple of weeks, I don't think that was a fluke. I mean, he is the second guy. Sam Laporta's emergence might take some targets away from him, but I still don't see why he can't eat in this offense as a flex option.
Yeah, so I somewhat agree with that. Like, I think Reynolds.
Especially with Jair Alexander, we see some more of Amon-Ra St. Brown in this kind of situation.
Yeah, and like my thing is like I see Reynolds as like probably a wide receiver 3 in this matchup. Like, I don't think much really changes. That's kind of where
Yeah,
I viewed him, even the last few weeks. I think personally, and this is me just guessing, right? Like, I don't have inside information or anything, but he was dealing with a groin injury last week.
true.
Didn't see a target in this game, so I'm kind of thinking that was more a function of that maybe, and then also the fact that this game wasn't very competitive on the Atlanta side. So considering all those things, I think Reynolds back in wide receiver 3 consideration. I think Goff is probably a low end QB1. Again, depends on how you see this game going. You took the over, so I think you're probably going to be higher on Goff than I would. I mean, we didn't even talk really about Jordan Love as well, but he's a QB1 for me as well in
Yeah,
this
I agree.
matchup. The running back position gets interesting, right? We saw Jahmyr Gibbs in his first opportunity without David Montgomery, and he was the lead guy. Saw 18 carries in that game, or 18 or 17 carries. I forget the exact number. Did not see the receiving workload that we thought we might see, but again, that could have been a product of the game script here, where Atlanta wasn't very competitive and Detroit didn't really have, much, they didn't have much need to throw the ball here in this one. But David Montgomery seems like he's questionable for Thursday. He could possibly make it in the lineup. How do you see this backfield being distributed if Montgomery returns to the lineup?
If Montgomery is returning to the lineup, I think it will revert back to what we saw in the first couple of weeks. Gibbs will get 5 to 10 carries, but he'll get those 6 to 7 to 8 receptions and targets. So I think that's kind of the role the Detroit Lions like right now. They had it in a similar way with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. They want a receiving back and they want a power back. So I think that's kind of what I'm seeing there, which is still puts him into, I think, a good RB2 territory.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. I mean, it's not like Gibbs did anything, spectacular with his
Yeah,
opportunities that makes you say like, well, can't put him back in the box now, right? So like, for me, I do see Gibbs as possibly an RB2. I think Montgomery, I don't see him getting a full workload potentially here, coming off the injury. Maybe they ease him in, especially I mean, hey, he has had 10 days to recover, but it is a short week.
yeah. I mean,
So
he had 4.7 yards per carry last week, so good rushing output there for sure. But yeah, I think they don't want to see him hurt or anything like that. They want a power back for sure.
yeah, no, definitely. And so, the thing with Monty is, do they lean on him for those 18 carries that he was getting, in his first game back, dealing with the thigh? Not
True.
really sure, but I will have Monty as an RB3. We'll have Gibbs as an RB2 in this one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on this matchup, from a fantasy perspective that you want to add, Greg?
No, I think we're good.
All right, it's time for some bold prediction time here. Greg, I will kick this one to you. Last week, I went with the George Kittle anytime touchdown, did not hit. I went with a Jalen Hyatt over on his receptions, and it was about 11.5. Also did not hit. So I'm hoping I get a little bit better production this week in that category. Greg, where are you going as far as your prop bets this week?
I'm on a little streak because I'm pretty sure I went McCaffrey over his yards, which I'm sure he did, and then that 49ers cover, which they definitely got that. I'm this time stick with I want to give these crazy bets out here. I think this is a good golf week, so his passing props 249. I'll take that over on his passing yards, and take the over in the game. Yeah, I'll parlay those two. That's a plus 168.
Okay. And does that look like breaking news? Oh, nope, never mind. No breaking news. I am gonna go here with, because I gotta parlay. It's always a parlay for me.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Give me, because my man is on a roll right now, Sam Laporta. I'm actually gonna juice up his receiving prop a little bit. 50 plus receiving yards, and again, this is on FanDuel, and I'm gonna parlay that. Going with the tight ends here, double tight ends, 12 personnel on my parlay bet. Luke Musgrave, over 38.5 receiving yards. Those two together give you odds of plus 262. So
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. Yeah.
I like that one. All right, man. Anything else you want to throw out there on Thursday Night Football before we move on to the games? Or, well, obviously the streams of the week and then the games.
No, let's get to these streams for sure.
Let's get to it. So obviously, thank you for listening. If you are listening or you're watching on YouTube, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, we definitely appreciate that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell, and make sure if you are watching live, you jump in the comments, leave some questions, or just say hi, say what's up, whatever you guys want to do. But jumping into those streams of the week here, Greg, your quarterback stream of the week this week.
Give me Matthew Stafford versus Indy, 49% rostered, right under that 50% mark. Indy been attacking them all year with the receivers, been attacking them all with quarterbacks. So I'm gonna keep it going here with Stafford Indy's defense giving up 275 passing yards a game to the quarterback position. That's seven most in the league. I think Stafford here has one of his best games of the season, similar to kind of like what he did in week 1.
I like this one. Hopefully he can throw a touchdown to my man Puka, because just waiting. My quarterback stream of the week, I did, and I tweeted this out too, right? And as soon as I tweeted out, like, Andy Dalton was who I was going with initially as my stream of the week, and you were also going to go there as well. And I, had this nice tweet with, hey, this is why you should start Andy Dalton, possible stream. And then minutes later, bro, like not even a minute, man, like Tom Pelissero of NFL Network drops this. Bryce Young was a full participant in practice, and so he's in line to start on Sunday. So, if Andy Dalton does start, I do like him a lot, but I'm going to go with the guy. I didn't want to pick him. He was initially going to be my pick, CJ Stroud against Pittsburgh. That was initially who I wanted to go with, but I don't want to keep coming on here and saying the same guy over and over again. Like, y'all know how I feel about CJ Stroud. Like, he should be on your roster. Again, I was saying it, it's reminiscent of Herbert. I actually don't even have a write-up, because I literally had the write-up here for Andy Dalton. Just changed it. Haven't had much time, but man, what is there to say about CJ Stroud? He's thrown for 240 yards, 384 yards, and 280 yards in his first three starts, because they were his first three starts in the NFL. Has not looked like a rookie, has not thrown an interception, leads the league in all these passing categories, in third down efficiency. Just the dude is playing really good football at a high level. And we just saw this Pittsburgh defense get beat up by Jimmy Garoppolo. Granted, Jimmy Garoppolo did have some interceptions and, some poor plays, but CJ Stroud, again, playing at a high level. Definitely love him to come through with another QB1 performance in this matchup against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, this has got to be a rest of season thing. You have to add him, keep him on your roster. You can only name, he thinks he's QB1 rest of season, so you can only name a certain amount of quarterbacks over him. right now.
Yeah, definitely agree with that sentiment, Greg. Who's your tight end stream of the week this week?
Going with 2022 popular stream of the week option all year. Gerald Everett going against the Vegas Raiders. He's 32% rostered, coming off a season high in targets and receptions with 6 in both of those categories. So Vegas giving up about 6 receptions a game to the tight end position. That's 6th most in fantasy. I think they're also susceptible to touchdowns too so far this season to the tight end position. So Mike Williams could add some more work for him a little bit, So I'm gonna throw him out here at 30%
I feel
roster.
like we've seen this movie before. Like
Hey,
last
man.
year,
And some of those weeks they it's here or there. So this is the up week.
It's just crazy to me because when you think, if I heard a tight end had 6 receptions, I would immediately think that they hit double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah,
right?
now.
Immediately, right? I'm like 6 receptions. Oh yeah, that's double digits, right?
Yeah.
My man has 6 catches for 30 yards.
30 yards. 30 yards.
Like that's very Juju-esque.
Well, hopefully one of those touchdowns is not to Donald Parham this week. It's to Gerald Everett.
I mean, what can we just like start the Chargers tight end?
Word.
Right? Like the only league that matters for, the only team that matters for is the Chargers, right? We just start the Chargers tight end, like that's it. You get those fantasy points. Gerald Everett is definitely somebody that was on my radar, but I'm staying with the rookie. I teased it a little bit at the top, but Luke Musgrave, and again, this one's a little bit tricky because Christian Watson could potentially be making, his first start coming back into the fold. But this is the best matchup for the tight end position through these first 3 weeks of the season against Detroit. And that's impressive when you consider that they've played against the Chiefs without Travis Kelce. They played against Seattle, who doesn't use the tight end. And then they've played against Atlanta, who have Kyle Pitts and Johnny Smith. So, this is impressive when you really consider what Detroit's doing here. I think Musgrave has some intrigue here in this matchup on Thursday Night Football to finish as a top 5, top 6 option at the position this week.
Yeah, those 2 young guys, Luke Musgrave, Jake Ferguson, I think we've been, mentioning those guys all year. I think they need to be on a lot more rosters.
I don't know, man. You could talk to me about Luke Musgrave, but Jake Ferguson is like,
he's getting targets, yo. He's getting the targets.
And what's he doing with them?
That's a trend I need for a possible uptick right there.
Man, it's killing me. Anyway, let's move on.
I mean, that's life of a tight end, man.
Life of a tight end. Honestly, I thought about it today, and I literally was putting on some feelers. Like, give me Kyle Pitts, bro. At this point with Jake Ferguson, like, just give me Kyle Pitts. Like,
you might have to seriously consider like the role of a tight end in fantasy. Ultimately,
crazy stuff, man. Greg, your defensive stream of the week, brother. What do you got?
Give me Houston going against Pittsburgh. They're 2% roster, so they are definitely out there. Coming up a solid performance last week, I think. Against that Jacksonville offense, who thought they were going to roll over them. They only allowed 17 points. Got a pick, got a fumble recovery. They have 2 picks on the year, so another, I think, favorable matchup. Jacksonville, I think, is a strong offense right now than Pittsburgh. They have Kenny Pickett's been having some struggles getting into his receivers not named George Pickens. So I think this will be a good opportunity for Houston.
Yeah, I like this one, man. The Houston defense is one that we've talked about as being, a better defense than what they've been advertised as. So definitely like this one here against
Kenny Ryans, baby. Got them boys playing.
He does, definitely does. I mean, did you see his quote about like them missing a bunch of players?
No, I didn't.
Like they were missing, I think like 3 of their starting offensive linemen were out, and they were missing in this past game against Jacksonville, and they were missing like Derek Stingley, who's on IR, Jalen Pitre, their star safety. So they're missing a ton of guys, and they asked him DeMeco Ryans about that, and he's like, yeah, none of that matters, right? Like, next man up. Like, and I think you get that mentality when you got a former NFL player as a head coach who's just like, nah, this is the NFL. Like, you're not always going to be playing with 100%. And this was like, and Warren Sharp tweeted this like in response to comments that Mike McCarthy had made, basically making excuses about how their offensive front, they were missing a bunch of guys, and that was part of the reason why They struggled against Arizona. So it's just just interesting to see that contrast there. But I'm gonna go. My defensive stream of the week is going to be the Denver Broncos defense.
Okay.
Justin Fields. Only Sam Howell and Ryan Tannehill have been sacked at a higher rate than Justin Fields, who has the fourth highest interception rate on the season through 3 weeks. I still like Fields, and we'll get into this a little bit later. I still like Fields as a sneaky start, but I think Denver provides a nice floor this week for fantasy managers.
Yeah, this is one of the going to be the most unpredictable games of the weekend. Like, I don't know who's going to show up because they both are playing so badly right now. So like, it's going to be interesting who's gonna show up. But at the very least, Denver defense should at least wake up and have wanna get some sacks. Definitely,
They just need a pulse, honestly.
Yeah,
like they just need to show up. All right, let's move on to the games, man. And we got a London game.
There you go.
Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to London to take on the Atlanta Falcons, who are also traveling to London. This game is Sunday, 9:30 in the morning. So very similar to what we say about those Thursday night players. These players should be in a position, not in your flex, because they are playing earlier as opposed to later. And you want to maintain the flex spots for that flexibility there. But this game has a 43.5 point total where the Atlanta Falcons are 3-point favorites. Greg, what side do you have, and will you be watching this Toy Story animation of this game?
I will be peeping into the Toy Story feed for a little bit, just to start and when play happening. And then I'll switch over, listen to my man Dan Orlowski. But I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to cover, Jacksonville to win.
Yeah, I will probably put. I just want to see the Toy Story thing, just to see like what do they do,
what they're doing. Yeah,
like how does it look compared to the actual game, right?
Right.
So I might have it on the iPad or something while the game is on, so I can just peek over and be like, what did this play look like in real life versus what it looked like on the Toy Story thing? So just my curiosity there. But I'm also agreeing with you. I will take the under. I will take Jacksonville to cover. I'll take Jacksonville to win. Seems like Zay Jones probably might miss this game here for the Jacksonville side. But Greg, as far as it goes, on the Jacksonville side for the wide receivers, we got a revenge game here for Calvin Ridley going up against his former team, the Atlanta Falcons. How do you view him this week? I mean, has had somewhat back-to-back underwhelming weeks after a hot week 1 start. Any concern here? Or are you just throwing him back out there as a high-end wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1?
Yeah, I think a mid-tier wide receiver 2 is fair for him. Revenge game, I think him and both Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk has definitely been blown up the last couple of weeks, which I'm glad to see him, coming through. So he's getting a lot of targets. No Zay Jones though again, so I think both of them will be used. And I think this offense wants revenge from what they showed the last couple of weeks. I think too. So they want to have a good game, get the ball to both their guys.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I'm going to have Calvin Ridley as a wide receiver 2 with some wide receiver 1 upside. I still will have Christian Kirk as a wide receiver 3 with some wide receiver 2 upside. Zay Jones obviously not playing there, so there's definitely some targets to be had. The pass catcher I'm most interested in, honestly, though, has got to be Evan Ingram. I mean, this matchup here is great for him. And I think he's definitely a strong tight end 1 in this game.
Yeah, and separate himself to be that kind of in that upper tier for tight ends this year.
What about Travis Etienne? I know there was some concern about the injury here, but he's not on the injury report at all. So seems like he's on track to play. How do you view him in this matchup?
Yeah, definitely fire him up. I think you could see him as a low end RB1 in this matchup here. He's gonna get the volume. Tank Bigsby is just strictly kind of they give him some red zone touches, looks here, but it's Travis Etienne show for sure.
Yeah, I agree. ETN is probably going to be high end RB2 for me on that cusp of like an RB1. But obviously, depending on how this game breaks out, he could definitely finish as an RB1. On the Atlanta side, it's very tough to consider options outside of Bijan Robinson, it feels like, in this matchup. I mean, he's an RB1, I think. I mean, if it wasn't for that week one with Bijan, right? Like, it almost feels like there's a buy window here.
Maybe if so, just jump on that. Absolutely, I think his usage is everything, and you just knowing this offense, like he's RB1, like it's not no question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there might be a buy window here. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
managers drafted him highly. They saw what was there week one, but if the Bijan manager is struggling, I think there's an opportunity to buy low for sure here. Dare I say it? Matchup, man. The matchup's pretty good. It's a pretty good matchup here for Kyle Pitts. I mean, Atlanta allows the fourth most PPR points to the tight end position on the season, Greg, through 3 weeks.
Oof. Crazy.
Any chance that you would be willing to throw Kyle Pitts out there?
I think I'd be more willing to play, I guess, Drake London, and I mean, I guess more confident in like the pass catcher of Drake London. I think they both have to get looks at when they throw the ball. They're only throwing it to those two. Mac Hollins is also involved as well. So,
oh, sorry, I misspoke. Jacksonville's 8th against the tight end. It's Atlanta who's 4th. So Jacksonville 8th most PPR points to the tight end position. They allow the 12th most PPR points to the wide receiver position. So Drake London also possibly in play as well.
I'm not excited to jump on these pass catchers. So
no,
Kyle Pitts is probably like a high end tight end too.
The thing is Drake London doesn't play tight end.
Right, Drake London, but Mac Hollins is involved. He has the most pass receiving yards on his team,
but he also doesn't play tight end. So the question is, are there legitimately 11 or 12 tight ends that you would start over Kyle Pitts this week with this matchup?
No, a high end tight end too. I mean, yeah, right on the borderline. I just can't say he's a tight end. That's crazy. Even though it's so bad, it's so poor out there. Even his poor success is almost getting you tight end 1 numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he finished as a tight end 1 last week.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
I'll ask for 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna
just hold your nose. Just hold your nose and stick them out there. Look, man, I'm dead serious, bro. Like, I'm a Jake Ferguson manager. I hit the Kyle Pitts manager up today. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, let's get it popping. Like, what's going on? Like, anyway, anything else you want to add to that game, Greg?
No,
nothing. All right, let's talk about a way more exciting game here. The 3-0 Miami Dolphins traveling to Buffalo to take on the 2-1 Buffalo Bills. This game has a 53.5 point total, where the Buffalo Bills are 3-point favorites here. Greg, I'll kick it to you. Actually, I'll take this one. I'm going with the over. Don't know how the Dolphins were not favored, but give me the Dolphins to cover and give me the Dolphins to win.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna take the over. Dolphins cover. Dolphins to win. Think they get it done. Show that they're the best team in the division right now.
So are you starting everybody in this game? I mean, let's start on the Miami side. It seems that Jalen Waddle practiced in full with the concussion, so it seems like he is on track to play in this game here. Tyreek Hill, Tua. I mean, Tua is a QB1, Tyreek Hill a wide receiver 1, Jalen Waddle wide receiver 2, with some wide receiver 1 upside. Raheem Mostert an RB1. Question is, Devon and Chan. Where is he sliding in amongst running backs for you this week? Obviously, had the big week last week, not going to score 50 points and not going to play Denver every week. So how do you see this one fitting in against a Buffalo rush defense that allows the 22nd most PPR points to the running back position?
All right, so I think with the high total, I can make the argument to I think he'll be involved. So I mean, I kind of see him as a strong RB3 with some RB2 upside. I think when if you have those depth problems at RB, and you need an RB to start, I think I wouldn't be scared to play him and not RB2 slot.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, RB2 flex position, he's got to be in consideration there just because it's always good to have a little nitro option in the flex. Some
high
guy
total
that
too. You like it here.
Yeah.
I think these two teams are going to go back and forth. They're not going to. So both teams will be involved. A lot of players.
Most definitely. On the Buffalo side, right? Are you going all in as well? Like Josh Allen QB1, Stephon Diggs a wide receiver 1,
Diggs, James Cook RB1.
Yeah, James Cook on RB1. Gabe Davis has been back-to-back weeks with a touchdown here. You sticking him in your lineup this week?
I think if you need like some help and you're trying to get some upside, I think he can be at Sunday morning ad. He can be a consideration for like adding. Is he all on rosters?
I Gabe Davis is rostered.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. I think yeah. So he's probably rostered like at least 80%, maybe 70%.
Yeah, I would imagine like. Shoot, I want to play in the leagues where Gabe Davis is a Sunday morning ad. He is 89% rostered. So in 11% of leagues, you could add him on Sunday morning.
Yeah, definitely a strong flex consideration. Wide receiver 2 upside.
Yeah, 100% wide receiver 3 with some wide receiver 2 upside. I mean, this Miami defense, they're 16th against quarterbacks, 7th against tight ends, 11th against running backs, and 18th against quarterbacks through 3 weeks here. Dalton Kincaid, I think, has some tight end 1 appeal. Did not get utilized last week, but they won that game like 30-7.
Yeah.
I think in a game like this where there's a shootout here, potentially, this could be Buffalo's. I mean, this is going to be Buffalo's first shootout of the year, right? Like week 1, they were in, a slow-paced game against the Jets. Week 2, they blew the doors off the Vegas Raiders, and then week 3 they also blew the doors off the Commanders. Week 4, I think, is where they're going to have some back and forth nature to this game, and a game with a high total, and they've got a 28-point implied team total. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be involved.
Yeah, I think he is low tight end 1. Everyone is bunched in that territory.
There's going to be there's like 6 guys that you're going to rank strongly as a tight end 1, and then there's like 14 guys that could finish as a tight end 1.
Yep.
It just comes down to did they catch that touchdown or not? Anybody else you're interested in playing in this game, Greg?
No.
All right, moving on to the next one. We've got the 2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Houston to take on a 2-1 Houston Texans, where this game has a 41.5 point total, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-point favorites on the road here. Greg, I pitch it to you. Where are you going with this matchup?
Give me the under. Give me Pittsburgh to cover and Pittsburgh to win.
CJ Stroud all the way, man. It's only a matter of time till I get the picture on my wall. Maybe a jersey. I don't know. We'll see. Give me the over here. Give me Houston to cover and give me Houston to win, man. I mean, yeah, I just the kid's playing too well. Kenny Pickett's not playing well. It's going to come obviously down to that defense, but Houston has a defense too. And Pittsburgh's been thrown on, man. I mean, you look what Jimmy G was able to do. You look what Cleveland, the opportunities were there. Deshaun Watson couldn't take advantage of them. Week 1, they obviously got tore up by San Fran. So I think Stroud can get it done here. I think Stroud is borderline QB1. Again, just borderline. I think Nico Collins takes his role back here as the wide receiver 1. But Tank Dell, definitely a strong wide receiver 2 for me. Robert Woods, any interest in this game? I know you took the under here, so maybe you're not fully in love with the pass game options here.
I think he's a safe floor, wide receiver 3. I think he could still get his 5 to 6 receptions, but for 60, 50, 70 yards. So I think he could be used in this offense. I think all 3 are playable for sure still.
And then Dameon Pierce, man, he's been disappointing.
Yep.
I think last week was the best week he had. Scored a touchdown. He's a guy I would sell. I think if you can off the back of last week's game, if you can package him with something and trade to a running back needy team, I think I would do that. I actually, out of desperation in the league, traded for him because I needed a warm body to stick in that lineup. But on the Pittsburgh side, George Pickens, how do you view him in this matchup? He seems to be the only Pittsburgh offensive player that you could consistently rely on and consistent. I say consistently, and I don't know how much I really mean that because even he's had his struggles there. How do you view Pickens coming into this matchup here against Houston?
Yeah, since after week, a slow week 1, I think last couple of weeks he's been pretty good, being the only offense out there for them. Pat Fryermuth kind of showed some stuff last week as well. So Pickens is a strong wide receiver 2 for me. He's got wide receiver 1 upside if he gets that touchdown because he's got big play type activity because Pickens just trusts him in a lot of situations. Fryermuth is a tight end 1 for me, mid-tier to low-end tight end 1.
I don't know, man. I swear you have you're like the Wolverine meme.
Pat definitely, you
got the Wolverine. You got the Wolverine meme, or you got the picture of Pat Fryermuth, and you're laying in your bed. And that's you and Pat Fryermuth, bro. Because I don't know what
he improved.
My man has 9 targets for 5 receptions and 46 receiving yards. That's not a game. That is the season, Greg. That is
all of it came last week.
41 of them came last week.
Exactly.
41 receiving yards came last week.
Yeah, all of us, pretty much all of
it. If it wasn't for his touchdown in week 1, because he had, let me pull up the game log.
Yeah, he's got a touchdown last week and a touchdown week 1.
Week 1, 4 targets, 1 reception, 3 yards, and a touchdown. Week 2, 1 target, 1 reception, 2 yards. Week 3, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have a long reception on the play? He had a long reception in that last game against the Vegas Raiders. So a lot of that production came on 1 reception. Let me see. He had he had a 14-yard reception, and it wasn't as long as I maybe thought. But yeah, man, I don't know how Fryermuth is dangerous, man. He's literally dangerous.
He's got 2 touchdowns as a tight end. That's definitely top 10 in the league.
You know who else has 2 touchdowns as a tight end? Donald Parham.
Oh.
You start him. At this rate, I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's in that bunch where you start. He could be a tight end 1, but he's got 2 touchdowns on the year in 3 weeks.
Kyle Pitts had more targets last week than Pat Fryermuth has all season.
But he's not getting an end zone. Yeah, for a tight end, that's pretty important.
It's kind of important, but at the same time, it's not predictable.
Yeah, but the highest percentage of points comes from a tight end's touchdown production. The top 3 are the only ones getting those yards and targets.
Oh man, this could get me in a lot of trouble, but go get me in a lot of trouble. I'm willing to bet Kyle Pitts finishes higher than Pat Fryermuth end of season.
Sure.
Okay. It's done. Consider it decided. It is decided. Najee Harris Jalen, Warren. Any interest there? I mean, the matchup is not terrible here.
Yeah, the match was really good.
It's really good. They obviously both guys haven't been uberly efficient. But are you interested in playing either one of these guys here in a matchup against a Houston defense that allows the 5th most PPR points to the running back position on the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both kind of like RB3s with some RB2. I think you could bump them up to finishing as RB2s just because of the matchup. Najee's going to get looks. I think both of them are going to get looks. I think they're kind of in the even point right now. So a low on RB2 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Najee as like a high end RB3. Maybe I think RB2 is probably reasonable. Maybe I'm just downgrading him because of what he's done so far. But Jalen Warren's probably going to be an RB3 for me as well. All right. Anything else you want to add on this game?
No.
All right. Let's move on to this next matchup here. We've got the 1-2 Los Angeles Rams going up to Indianapolis to take on the 2-1 Indianapolis Colts. This game has a 46.5 point total, where the Indianapolis Colts are 1.5 point favorites at home here. This line was interesting because it started out on the week before the Rams played as the Rams being 1.5 point favorites, and then the Rams lost on Monday Night Football, and now the Colts are here as 1.5 point favorites. I don't know if that's more a result of the game or if that's a product of Anthony Richardson practicing today and potentially returning to the lineup. Not really sure what happened there, but I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take the Rams to cover the 1.5 point spread and also take the Rams to win this game here. Greg, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the Colts to cover and then the Colts to win.
Like I said, it seems like the rookie Anthony Richardson he returned to practice today as a full participant, so that will put him online to potentially play. Are you sticking the rookie out there if he is able to go?
Yeah, if he's able to go, I think he's a safe play as a borderline QB1, especially with his rushing attempts. I think maybe he'll just needs to learn how to slide a little bit more, kind of protect his body because he's been taking a lot of big hits, which is probably why he got the concussion in the first place. So if he can kind of maintain that, I think he's still in that a good pickup to get him in rest of the season be viable.
Yeah, I know in one of our leagues, right? Or actually, I guess the league we co-manage, one of the leagues we co-manage together, in another league in our league with certain people, I have the CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson contingent. So gonna just be doing that thing back and forth all year. But I definitely like Richardson this week. I mean, obviously has QB1 upside because of his legs, because of what he does around the goal line. But look, man, 4 years, better late than never, right? Zach Moss is coming through, seeing like unbelievable volume at the running back position. He's got to be an RB2 with some RB1 upside for you this week, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then wide receiver position, Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, it starts with him. It feels like wide receiver 1. Josh Downs is getting some intrigue as well. He's been getting a little bit more work lately. Are you interested in Downs potentially as a wide receiver 3 or a flex option in this matchup?
Yeah, I think he's kind of. If I can get my hands on like Marvin Mims, I'd probably play him over like a Josh Downs. But I think he can be a good speculative play. I think in this game,
Yeah, the thing is,
higher is total.
Mims is obviously, we know what the upside is. I think he's got to be on your roster, but until Mims is consistently playing like snaps, right? I think he's run like 23 routes all year.
Yeah, they got to free him.
But he's averaging like 7 yards per route run. Like he's literally breaking the metric. And that's obviously an unsustainable rate, but we need to see more volume from him. But Downs is out there. Downs is on the field. He's getting those opportunities. So I'd have to lean him in that situation. But I think he's definitely got some intrigue. Obviously, Matthew Stafford, he's your QB stream of the week. Has a great matchup here against Indy, who allow the fourth most fantasy points to the quarterback position. Tutu Atwell, Puka Nakua. Both these guys, I think they're wide receiver twos. I think Puka is going to get the edge here because of the volume. How do you see the wide receivers? Break. I guess how do you see that playing out this week?
Yeah, I think Tutu, kind of the long range guy. I think for half point PPR standard leagues, Tutu's gonna give you that. Puka's the reception guy. I think they're both wide receiver twos with some wide receiver one upside. Especially with this matchup, Colts secondary definitely susceptible to being passed on. So I think they're both in that category.
Most definitely. And then Kyron Williams, how do you see his role playing out in this matchup against an Indianapolis rush defense that allows the 20th most PPR points to the running back position?
Well, he's definitely going to get the volume, so I think he's still a low end RB1 for me. I think he still, gets close, close to 80, 90 yards rushing and get some targets and receptions.
Yeah, and he's going to be an RB2 for me. Like you said, I think he'll get the volume. It's just he has not been uberly efficient with that volume. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even know if he's averaging 4 yards a carry. Yeah, he's about 3.6 yards per carry on the year. I think he could get you probably 80 to 90 total yards from scrimmage. But again, has not been uberly efficient. So you really are going to need that touchdown from him to get to the RB1 type day that we've seen from him, a couple times this year. Anything else on this game that you want to add, Greg?
No.
All right, moving on to this next matchup, the 0-3 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Carolina to take on the 0-3 Carolina Panthers, where this game has a 45.5 point total. Greg, I kick it to you. Where are you going with this one?
Give me the over. Give me Minnesota to. Actually, I'm gonna take Carolina to cover, but I'll take Minnesota to win the game.
Yeah, I actually got to check to see if this line moved at all with Andy Dalton, projected not to start now, and
Right
Bryce
now it's
Young.
Minnesota -4.
Minnesota -4. The total has not moved at all.
No.
So that's slightly interesting, but I am going to take. I really like the over here with Andy Dalton at quarterback. I think I'm gonna change my pick to the under. Yeah, I'm gonna change my pick to the under and give me Minnesota to cover, Minnesota to win here. Uh, Obviously, like I said, really liked Andy Dalton. I know you did as well. With Bryce Young in here, potentially, I think that caps some of the upside here. It doesn't seem like they want to open up this offense with Bryce Young. I mean, I don't know if Bryce Young has attempted 58 passes all season, but Andy Dalton in a game attempts 58 passes, right? So, like, definitely in a place here where I felt really great about it if Bryce Young or if Andy Dalton was the starter here. But I do think Bryce Young does bring some potential QB2 upside here with the matchup. I think he also adds, QB2 in two quarterback leagues, has some intrigue there. Adam Thielen revenge game. It's a great matchup. Again, I felt a lot better about his upside here with Andy Dalton, but I still do like him to be productive here if Bryce Young makes the start. Greg, what are your feelings on that? And I guess the pass game as a whole with Bryce Young and potentially instead of Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I think it's capped a little slight downgrade. Thielen has 20 receptions through the first 3 weeks, so he's been used, with both quarterbacks. So I think he's the safest option to be a wide receiver two in this matchup. DJ Shark coming back, I think he's more of a floor wide receiver three in this matchup as well. Hayden Hurst, I think, is in that jumble as well. He could finish as a tight end one, but I have him as a tight end two in territory. And yeah, Bryce Young. I'm like in a two quarterback league type option, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. Like even a 16 team league where you're like, I need a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like you can stream him there. Um, yeah, Hayden Hurst, I like him as a tight, like you said, high end tight end two, low end tight end one. He's one of those 14 guys that we talked about before. DJ Shark again has some intrigue here with Andy Dalton. I'm less intrigued here with Bryce Young, and then on the Minnesota side, right, it's tough for me to want to like. I mean, it's not tough. Obviously, you're going to play Kirk Cousins. You're going to play, Justin Jefferson. You're going to play T.J. Hawkinson. I just think that the upside might be a little bit capped here if Carolina doesn't or can't keep pace with this Minnesota offense. So I think that downgrades the auxiliary pieces like a Jordan Addison by a little bit. Not by much, but just a little bit. I do think Alexander Madison has a great matchup. Carolina allows the third most PPR points to the running back position, but we obviously have to see what the workload looks like when Cam Akers, with Cam Akers in the fold here as well, potentially being active this week after the trade to the Minnesota Vikings. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on, I guess, some of those pieces I talked about with the Jordan Addison and Alexander Madison?
Yeah, other than the main pieces, the Addison, I think I agree with you about being downgraded slightly, but I think he's still in that good flex category consideration. Madison, was able to do some stuff last week, so I think he's in a consideration to be that low on RB2.
Yeah, I mean, and this team has yet to score a rushing touchdown, so I think that'll have to regress, in some way where they end up with a rushing touchdown, some positive regression there. So I think Madison, against the Carolina rush defense could make that happen this week. All right, let's move on to this next matchup. Another revenge game here. This weekend is full of them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to New Orleans to take on Jameis Winston and the 2-1 New Orleans Saints. This game has a 40.5 point total, where the New Orleans Saints are 3-point favorites here at home. Obviously, also get the return of Alvin Kamara here for the New Orleans Saints. So, Greg, I kick it to you. Where are you going with this matchup?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Tampa to cover and Tampa to win.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take New Orleans to cover and New Orleans to win. Chris Olave, I think, is in a smash spot here against the LA Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really like his upside this week. How do you feel about him and then I guess the rest of the receivers as Michael Thomas and Rashid Shaheed?
Yeah, level Olave, I think the ranked number one guy in this offense. Michael Thomas, I think, is kind of that PPR wide receiver 3, and then Raheem Shaheed is has upside, the highest upside other than Olave, especially in a returner league as well. So you get those points there. But I see him as a solid flex option. And then Kamar, he's back. Just fire him up. Don't even set it and forget it. He's back to take this offense. No matter the quarterback, James Winston likes to check it down a lot to him. If he's going, then I think that's even better nose.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Michael Thomas probably going to be a wide receiver 3 for me. Shaheed probably going to be a wide receiver 4. I think Michael Thomas has been very solid, man. I mean, I know I said I was saying some stuff earlier in the year about him versus Shaheed, and Shaheed has higher upside, but Michael Thomas has been really solid. So I think I'll continue to roll him out there as a wide receiver 3. Jameis Winston, I think in this matchup probably a QB2. And then on the Tampa Bay side, Mike Evans came back down to earth a little bit last week, but still a wide receiver 1, I think. Obviously this is Marshawn Lattimore.
So he can make it throughout the game. If he can make it to the fourth quarter, maybe he can get his work in like by the quarter 3, and then he get in this fight.
Then he can get in this fight and get ejected.
Yeah. Then get ejected. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Rachaad White still seeing that volume, so he's going to be a low end RB2 until he stops seeing it. Chris Godwin, though, that's interesting. He's been meh through 3 weeks, but I'm going to have him as a wide receiver 3 again this week.
Yeah, and then I think the matchup is not too great, but Cade Otton's a name that just could kind of come through for people that may be searching for a tight end.
Yeah, I was interested in Kadon last week. I was curious to see what he would do last week. Didn't really do much in what was supposed to be a good matchup, and had some opportunities. But yeah, he's a guy that had a couple of some opportunities the week prior in week 2, and so he's definitely on my radar for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this next matchup, a divisional matchup. The 2-1 Washington Commanders traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles. This game has a 44.5-point total, where the Philadelphia Eagles are 8.5-point home favorites here. This game has I said that part already. But Greg, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover the 8.5 points. I'm going to take Philadelphia Eagles to win this matchup. What about you?
Yeah, give me the over. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover, but the Eagles to win the game.
Jalen Hurts, QB1, AJ Brown, wide receiver 1, Devontae Smith, high-end borderline wide receiver 1, or high-end wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, does he continue his trend here as a strong RB2?
Yeah, strong RB2. Got some RB1 upside in a lot of matchups. The way they run the ball, I think he can always finish in that top 12 possibly.
Dallas Goedert or Kyle Pitts?
The
fact that you have to think about it says a lot.
Yeah, because Dallas Goedert. Well, last 2 weeks, he was putting up just low, right under 10 points. So they're like in that same area, like who you want. Hopefully, you get 9 to 10 points from your tight end. I'll take Goddard though.
Goddard is the tight end 27.
He had a 0-point day. It kind of messes up his average.
Still counts.
Yeah,
he played, right? He was healthy. He was on the field. I mean, if Kyle Pitts had a 0, we wouldn't hear the end of it. So,
well, I mean, I don't talk about him, so it's only if you he is highly rostered, but it'd be I'd expect that.
Tight end 27 versus the tight end 19. Just saying. Kyle Pitts, Dallas
outperformed the last 2 weeks though.
You said what?
He outperformed the last 2 weeks though.
Didn't Dallas Goedert have a 5?
No, he had 9.
When?
Last week.
Last week? Oh yeah, in a PPR league, he probably had about a 9.
Yeah.
He's another guy, man. He has one more week before I start.
Who you gonna go to though?
I don't know. I'm gonna figure something out. This is absurd. I don't draft a tight end in the.
I got 3 offers for TJ Hawk in one league. Hawk is looking real. That's any tight end you got over basically the first 3, and that's it.
Bro, honestly,
tight end 1.
I'm kicking myself that I don't have more Sam Laporta. Myself because he was so cheap, and he's literally the tight end. Is he the tight end 1 right now? Tight end 3, I mean. He's a tight end 2 behind TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. All right. On the Washington side, Brian Robinson, he's in a tough matchup, but I think the volume should be there. We both picked him to cover here, so the game should be slightly competitive. Is he going to be in your lineup this week as an RB2?
Yeah, RB2. I think Antonio Gibson is not playable at all for sure. I think he's close to being cut. In that
I don't know. He did play a decent amount last week. Did have the fumble.
Play more. Yeah,
he did play more. I mean, I think that had to do with the
fumbling a lot. Fumbled in week 1 too.
Yeah, that's one of his things. But I think you do got to hold on to him. Just again, we know the role that's there, but he is an end of the bench type guy. I do agree with that. Terry McLaurin, I know you had some feelings last week. Wide receiver 3 in this matchup.
Yeah, it's crazy how Howell has almost 700 yards passing, but it's not the Dotson and it's not the McLaurin. So who is he passing it to? Curtis Samuel is leading this team of receiving yards. I think they're all in that type of wide receiver 4, wide receiver 3 category for me.
I know who he is throwing it to, the tight end position, whoever is out there. So Logan Thomas obviously had the concussion. This matchup here against Philadelphia is good. They allow the second most PPR points to the tight end position. I don't care who the tight end is. I think I would pick them up and
That's
start.
what I'm like. That's a good deep league ad right there. I think.
Deep league, 12
For
teams, 8
12
teams,
team,
10
10 team,
teams.
5 team.
Give me the Washington Commanders tight end. Like, I don't care. Like, it is
I
hard
need
out
to
there.
know. It's real hard.
It's real
Real
hard.
hard. Now I need to know. It's John Bates.
It is
Cole
John
Turner.
Bates. Yeah, it is John Bates. Cole Turner is also getting some run. But I want it to be Logan Thomas. Like, that's my hope, is that it's Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
I think Sam Howell could bounce back as a QB2. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, he did pretty well the first 2 weeks. Everyone has playing against Buffalo. It's tough seeing that beat defense for the first time. Eagles D line might get him a little. So we'll see. Just a little bit. Yeah, Jalen Carter's a man.
Yeah, he is a man. My man has like 2 necks, bro. I saw the back of his neck the other day. I'm like, bro, your neck has a neck. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, man. Let's move on to this next matchup. This very interesting one here. I actually have to change this pick here that I made on the total here. But anyway, we've got the 0-3 Denver Broncos traveling to Chicago to take on the 0-3 Chicago Bears. This game has a 46-point total, where the Chicago Bears are 3.5-point home dogs. Greg, kick it to you. Where are you at with this total and this spread here?
Give me the under. I'll take the Broncos to cover and the Broncos to win. I just a measure of who's worse. I'm gonna trust the organization of Denver, I guess, a little more, like the coaching and Russell Wilson a little more than Justin Fields, I guess, in this game. So yeah.
This game literally gives me a headache. Honestly, I had here the under, and I was ready to ride this under because I'm just like, oh, these teams suck, blah, blah, blah. But then you think about it, it's the defenses that suck.
Yeah. And Chicago's offense, they suck.
Yes, that is also true. But both these defenses suck.
Yes, both defenses are trash.
So give me the over. I will take Chicago to cover 3.5. But I'll take Denver to win the game. And so that being said, I said it at the top. I'll say it again. It was not by accident. I think this is the week to start Justin Fields.
I'm in a league with Justin Fields. I ran and picked up Anthony Richardson today to add him and play him in a 12-team league. So I think if you can, I know, crazy. But I think if you can find a hotter option, like a strong option, try. But if not, I think just this can't get any worse for a matchup right now. The Bears are home too, so it's not like they're in Denver. QB 13, 14.
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, he's got to run. That's all you got to do.
That's it.
There was only there weren't that many QB design runs last week either. So
no, all we need is like 3 or 4 a game. That's it.
Yeah, they just need to do it.
Okay, staying in that Bears backfield, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. You have to pick one. Where are you going?
Not happy about either. I would literally try to find someone. This is where Matt Breida. If Saquon didn't play,
Denver.
Oh man,
they played Denver.
This offense is so bad. Give me Roschon then as a wide receiver or RB4, maybe RB3.
I think Roschon has some pretty good upside here, man. I think he could finish as an RB2. I mean, I'm going Roschon over Khalil Herbert. I think it's only a matter of time till he overtakes this backfield. He's already got the pass catching work. Give me Roschon, man. I'm gonna take Roschon here in this matchup as a strong. It's Denver.
I know, but it's just Chicago's offense. It's just so bad too. They're so bad. They haven't done anything right offensively this year. Like nothing right. Like just because they had the talent, they're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, but they just got to hand the ball off like 3-4 times, which is what they want to do anyway. And then
I'm most
I don't know what
confident for this offense. I'm most confident in DJ Moore. That's like a low end wide receiver.
I don't
What
know,
is that?
man.
The
I
wide
think
receiver three.
yeah, he's a wide receiver 3 for me, but I'm probably I have more confidence in Roshan, man, or this run game. Because even if Fields being a QB1 for me this week has nothing to do with his arm. Has nothing to do with his arm. It's just about like, could he get to the edge like once or twice and
Yeah,
break one? Like that's really
yeah,
it. So yeah, DJ Moore probably wide receiver 3. On the Denver side, I think Russell Wilson definitely has some QB1 upside.
yeah,
I think Javonte Williams also in a great spot here, has a strong RB2. Question is, we know Jerry Judy's working his way back from the hamstring. Are you going in that direction, or do you think Sutton continues, leading this Denver pass attack?
yeah. I'm Team Sutton. I just think he has the safest floor, which he's provided all season right now. And then if he gets a touchdown, that's a wide receiver 2 day. So just the safe play right now, and I like Javante. I think is a good matchup for him too. Marvin Mims is going to be, I think, deep league. You need upside play for sure. So hopefully, if they unleash him, like give him more looks, give him more plays, like he's got a lot of upside. He's
Yeah,
definitely
man.
got to be on rosters, I think.
It's like he reminds me, and a similar guy played in for that same team, wore the same jersey number. Do you remember Eddie Royal?
Remember the name? Yes, yeah,
I remember when Eddie Royal
yeah,
was a rookie, it was like every time he touched the ball, it was like a big play for the Denver Broncos. And then it's like, hey, maybe you guys should play this guy more. And then they
yeah.
did. And good things continue to happen. So, he reminds me of that. All right, we're up against it. Let's move on to this next matchup here. We've got the 2-1 Baltimore Ravens traveling to Cleveland to take on the 2-1 Cleveland Browns, where this game has a 40.5-point total, and the Cleveland Browns are 2.5-point home favorites here. Greg, I kick it to you. Where are you going with this matchup?
Yeah, I'm taking the under. I'm taking Baltimore to cover and Baltimore to win.
Very nice. I'm also going to take the under. I'm also going to take Baltimore to cover. Also going to take Baltimore to win. This is a tough matchup, though, for the Baltimore side, right? Like, I think you got to have Lamar as a QB1. I mean, let me just read off these ranks to you, Greg. Cleveland defense, 31st most points against quarterbacks, 31st most points against running backs, 32nd most points against wide receivers, 32nd most points against tight ends.
Yeah, no,
You,
I have them in our league. Rest of the season. They're a defense you need to play top 10 all year.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to sneak by without them in another league just because their next matchups don't look that great, and I think they have a bye next week. So I think they play Baltimore this week. They're on a bye next week, and then they come back and they play San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of hoping they could sit there for a couple weeks before people pick them up. But yeah, they've got to be rostered in most leagues here. That being said, I read those ranks off. You got to play your Baltimore Ravens, I think, right? Like you got to play Lamar Jackson. You
Mm-hmm.
got to play Zay Flowers, I think. You got to play Mark Andrews. I think if you play those guys, though, you got to take some upside. You got to go for the higher variance guys elsewhere in your lineup. Like, I don't want to say Marvin Mims because that's maybe too high variance, but hey, you could get there, right? Like a George Pickens is a guy I think, if you go back and forth between George Pickens and somebody else, like give me George Pickens because I want the upside here. What's your thoughts on that philosophy and I guess just the ball, how you attack or how you're approaching playing your Baltimore Ravens options?
Yeah, I think those three guys are there for sure. The running back situation is just crazy right now. One gets hurt, one starts, so it's really hard to trust anyone in this running backfield right now. I have Justice Hill rostered in some leagues. I think he's the most talented of the ones, so I think he's the stash. But it's tough to trust to start any of those guys. So I would avoid that. And yeah, you need to add someone with some upside for sure. I agree with that. If you got Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews, you're happy to have him on your roster, but yeah, Lamar, he'll find a way to get 90 to 100 rushing yards, no matter what the score is. It doesn't matter.
I mean, with the lack of running backs in this backfield, I mean, Gus Edwards did return to practice today with the concussion. So, yeah, I mean, Lamar, I think will have to try to get it done with his legs like he did last week. On the Cleveland side,
Mark Cooper.
Amari Cooper. That's pretty much it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Baltimore allows the 8th most PPR points to the to the wide receiver position. So Amari Cooper is, I think, a strong wide receiver 2. I think Elijah Moore is in play as like a wide receiver 4 flex option. Jerome Ford, he's been somewhat inefficient. I mean, last week was really inefficient. I mean, Tennessee is a good run defense, but he found the end zone twice. So maybe you continue to hope that he gets those opportunities there. But I'm probably going to have him closer to an RB3 this week in this matchup.
Yeah, mid-tier to low on RB2. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's probably fair, especially when you consider the red zone work that he gets. Moving on to the last and final matchup of the 1 p.m. slate, or the early slate, I should call it. We've got the 1-2 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Tennessee to take on the 1-2 Tennessee Titans, where this game has a 40.5 point total. And the Cincinnati Bengals are 2.5 point favorites here. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Cincy to cover. I'm going to take Cincy to win. Greg, where are you at with this one?
Yeah, over Cincy to cover and Cincy to win. I think every week Joe Burrow gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah, man, was full participant in practice today, so clearly no setbacks there from the Monday night game. Definitely like that. As far as the fantasy goes, Joe Mixon, I mean, again, we just talked about this Tennessee rush defense and how tough it is. They did give up some touchdowns last week, but they're still 27th against the position. I think volume-wise, Joe Mixon probably a lower-end RB1 with some, or high-end RB2 with some RB1 upside, but again, the matchup here is tough. How are you approaching this with Joe Mixon this week?
Yeah, I'm right at that same area. You want to see him start to kind of get going. So hopefully he gets one of the best outputs, or your short, strong, maybe yards per carry. But he's going to get the volume. I think he's in that strong RB2 territory.
Jamar Chase, his best game of the year last week on Monday night. Wide receiver 1 for you this week in this matchup.
Yeah, fire him up for sure.
Especially because we're playing Tennessee, 4th most PPR points against the wide receiver position, which means no matter how much T. Higgins may have disappointed you on Monday night with the drops and the offensive pass interference, got to be in your lineup this week as a high-end wide receiver too.
Yeah, for sure.
Tyler Boyd, any interest there?
I think he's kind of wide receiver 4 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have him as a wide receiver 3 just because the matchup is so good. And I think Burrow not being able to move around with his legs, extend plays, probably going to lead to him throwing some shorter pass attempts to a Tyler Boyd. So I think
They just put in Jamar in the slot now. It's crazy. So
they were moving Jamar.
Yeah, everywhere, man.
But yeah, I think Tyler Boyd's going to continue to see some of those targets in the shorter area of the field. On the Tennessee side, I'll ask you, Greg. I mean, Cincinnati defense, they've been solid, through 3 weeks. I mean, outside of quarterback and tight end, where they're 12th most PPR points to the quarterback position, 6th most to the tight end position, while being 24th and 21 against running backs and wide receivers, respectively. Is there anybody outside of Derrick Henry that you really want to play?
Not really. I mean, if D-Hop's your only receiver because you probably drafted him at a high mark, like you might be forced to play him, but I wouldn't be happy about it. Like he's definitely on some like benches, I think, at this point. Just this offense is not very strong.
I made a joke yesterday. D-Hop sounds more like D-Drop to me. Just saying. Imagine you was like you didn't draft or you didn't claim Puka Nacua or Tank Dell or Nico Collins because you're like, oh, I got D-Hop.
Yeah,
bro. Like seriously. So yeah, I think Derrick Henry he's not been superly efficient. Tajay Spears is playing more, out snapped him last week. But I still think he's the only one I want to play as an RB2 in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, that being said, this one is officially a wrap. So, Greg, anything you want to say to the people before we close this one?
Just hearing that audio. No, I'm excited for this game. Hopefully we can get again, I need to keep speaking in existence. Christian Watson playing and him doing what he has to do.
Yes, man. Yes, sir, man. We got one of the best soundtracks, intros, outros, because Greg was so focused, heard the intros in the headphones, and he was vibing to it, man. And so, you got to watch on YouTube, just really see how that went down. But anyways, y'all, we really appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all tomorrow back at our regular scheduled time, 3 p.m. Yeah, we just had a little scheduling quirk today, but we'll be back on it tomorrow, 3 p.m. We'll be here breaking down the rest of the games for week 4, as well as giving out starts of the week and playing Get Money, because I need to get my win back, because Greg wasn't here last week. We couldn't play Get Money.
True. That's true.
So, I'm just on a 2-game losing streak here, so I gotta find a way to get a dub, yo. Gotta find a way to do it. All right, y'all. Have a good one. We'll catch y'all tomorrow, and we're out of here. Peace.
Yeah.